But we're going to move on to topic number 8 tonight, and that's Ja Morant on a tear in the playoffs. Yeah, man, breaking playoff records left and right. I believe he broke 3 playoff records just in his first 3 playoff games. So it's just really one of those things where, man, this is a young superstar really showing his thing. Mikey, what do you got?
I love Ja Morant. I've loved Ja Morant. I think, the idea about him going second to Zion. Now, listen, I'm not going to call Zion a bust. I'm not going to do that, okay? But if you give the GM of the Pelicans truth serum and you tell him, who would you rather have, Ja Morant or Zion Williamson, he's picking Ja Morant. This dude is a quintuple threat. He does everything, all right? He also plays defense, by the way, which, sorry to sound like that basketball coach, but he actually does it, and he does it at a high clip. He's crazy athletic. He has the ability to shoot. He can distribute. He obviously is our producer Benny's there throwing up some great clips. He's great in transition. But when you start looking at like the actual records here, let me just drop you a couple of them, okay? One, second most points in the first 2 playoff games by any player other than George Mikan. George Mikan. They name a damn drill after that dude. They name a drill after him.
Drill.
And it's brutal, but they made that's how talented he is. Not only that, obviously putting in that realm, he's obviously the most points ever scored by any Grizzly team. I think the last guy was Mike Miller, right, to show you the last Grizzly to score even close to that. And he's the 4th youngest to score 40 in the playoffs in his first playoff games behind, Magic Johnson, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic. Like the elite air that Ja Morant is being put in right now is, 100% deserved. He deserves it. He has been playing amazing. That team is underrated. They have a ton of young talent. And to be honest with you, the only thing that they're, in my opinion, really missing is somebody who can control the paint for them. If they can find I don't want to call it a dominant big man, but just say my boy Karl Anthony Towns happened to make his way down to Memphis. Yo, now you're talking. Now you're really talking, because he is so dynamic. And by all accounts, a great dude. Like, just an absolutely great guy. I'm embarrassed for the league with what happened to him. Well, specifically what happened with his father and his sister. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but people were throwing some racial epithets at him. And, that's terrible, but typical. He handles it with class. He's not Kyrie. He handles it with class. He moves along. Obviously, nobody wants that situation. But I just see, you look at guys like him, like Devin Booker, Zach LaVine, all of these young, up-and-coming, budding superstars. Dude, Brandon, these guys are all younger than 25 years old. Like, they're going to be the NBA. You're seeing it play out in front of you. Obviously, I'm not even talking about Luka and, like AD and a lot of these guys who are still, you forget, AD is probably, he's only 26, 27. He's still really, really young, right? So we're starting to see some of the youth of the NBA fall right in front of our lap. But, man, is Ja Morant special? And by the way, big ups to Murray State. Like, for real right now, no, you don't have to go to North Carolina. And no, you don't have to go to Duke. All right, here's a guy who went to Murray State. It was the only school that was actually scouting him. All right, he went in. I think he's a 6'3" guard. He went in at about 5'11", put on some weight. He grew, right? And now what we're finding is that, wow, this kid can really, really play. And he can compete with the league. So, no, it's so impressive to see. He's an absolute boss.
Man, what an epic tear this guy's been on. Another record that he broke was through his first 3 playoff games, he scored, I think, 100 points or more, and that's only been done by 2 other players. One of them is Will Chamberlain. So it's like if you're bringing up some of these guys, you're bringing up Will Chamberlain, you're bringing up Mikan, you're bringing up Magic Johnson, you're bringing up LeBron James. Those are all Hall of Fame players, and Ja Morant is putting himself in the picture with them. in one of his first few years in the league. So it's just really, like you said, I think you're right. If I go back and I make that pick, I pick him over Zion. And I think you're right. I think the Pelicans GM would have done the same thing now when he sees how much this kid can change the game and really what he brings to. I think, like you said, with him coming out of Murray State, totally overlooked, big ups to Murray State. He put them on the map. And guess what? This kid had always had confidence in himself that he really was this great of a player. And now he's showing it to everybody that he's one of the best players in the league. I had talked about him earlier in the show, I think like months ago, because he had talked about how he was going to wear Kobe's every night. And he literally was wearing a different pair of Kobe's every night for months straight, and then was putting up Kobe-like numbers. So it's really one of those things where I think if Kobe was still here, Kobe would be talking about how great this kid is, and the playoff tear that he's on right now is epic. And it's really one of those things. If he can stay on a tear like this, he's already put himself in the conversation with Hall of Famers. He'll skyrocket himself to Hall of Fame numbers if he can keep doing this. But man, yeah, what a great player. Like you said, he can do it all. Offense, inside, outside, can distribute the ball, and he plays on both ends of the court, playing defense too. So this is the type of guy that, hey, if you're going to invest in and you want a franchise player, Ja Morant is the guy, man. So, yeah, I think you could go back and say that he was the sleeper pick in that draft. And a lot of people were talking about him, so I don't want to say he was not talked about at all. But everybody was talking about Zion like he was the next LeBron James and like he was going to change the game. And I haven't seen it yet. I don't think anybody's seen it yet. I've seen out of Zion a solid NBA power forward that can put up big numbers and play great. But I haven't seen LeBron James-like numbers. I haven't seen Kareem Abdul-Jabbar-like numbers, Will Chamberlain numbers, Magic Johnson numbers. Ja Morant's the guy that's putting those numbers up right now. And not only is he putting those numbers up right now, he's putting the Grizzlies on his back with this young, talented roster that they have. And, man, they're making a run right now, and I believe they're in a tie in their series right now. The series is tied up, I believe. And so it's, hey, if Ja Morant can put the team on his back even more, I think the Grizzlies move on out of this series.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And I think part of it, too, is when we start thinking about some of these mid-major schools and the ideas, I mean, we could dive into a topic of the NCAA and the idiocy that is the one-and-done rule and whether you're on board with that or not. But we're starting to see this a lot, man. Like, we're starting to see a lot of these kids come out of school after 1 year, and they're not fully developed. Right. Another great example is, and we're talking about Murray State, is Cam Payne. I'm not sure if you know who Cameron Payne is. Right. Cam Payne is another kid out of Murray State who got drafted by the Bulls. And it was even reported recently, and I even saw Ja Morant retweet it. It was reported recently by a Bulls executive that on the first day of practice that they knew he wasn't ready. He would never play in the NBA. Oh, yeah. Well, now he's playing for Phoenix, and he's dropping 22 a game. And he's absolutely killing it, right? Because you know why? He was 19. Like, give the kid some time to grow and develop. And again, not to go on another diatribe, but that's why the NCAA is just absolutely bogus. Either adopt the football rule or let them come straight out of high school. This sham of I'm going to get my education is absolutely bananas. It's just not a thing. And until we start, like, standing up and admitting that, one, college basketball will actually get better, believe it or not. And the reason why I say that is because those elite players, which you and I both know are probably you can count on one hand, that will come straight out of high school. The rest of them will go to school. They will develop. They will get 3 square meals a day. They will get a strength and conditioning coach. They will get bigger, faster, and stronger. And a guy like Cam Payne now might be a lottery pick because he did 4 years at Murray State instead of just trying to do this one-and-done deal, right? So, listen, yeah, Ja Morant's a boss. I love – listen, I give the Grizzlies GM, I don't know off the top of my head, I don't have him in front of me, a lot of credit for taking this pick. He's an amazing player. And to be honest with you, he's going to be the face of the Grizzlies until hopefully he doesn't pull, a LeBron and tries to make a super team. But he'll be the face of that team as long as he wants to be the face of that team.
If the Grizzlies are smart, they will back up the Brinks truck for this kid and make sure that he doesn't go anywhere. So that's up to the Grizzlies. But before I close out on Ja Morant, I think Campaign, man, had Dennis Schroeder in a washing machine the other night for the Lakers. So it's like Campaign, man, was looking great, like you said, for Phoenix the other night, and is a great player. And like you said, a great example of how if you give the kid some time and let him develop and give him some great coaching, that, you know, the sky's the limit for a great athlete. And I think he's showing that right now. But Ja Morant is absolute beast. And to cover what you're saying about the NCAA, man, they dropped the ball on a lot of things. And one of the things this is total different off topic right now, okay? But man, I'm pumped that the NCAA football game's coming back. And side note for you, inside joke, man, they need to bring back NCAA basketball because I want to see Grant Rampy out there. Grant Rampy, yes, sir. Grant Rampy out of Arizona making another run for another championship. That's a side topic.
No one's going to get it.
No, nobody will get that, but side topic. But yeah, Ja Morant is an absolute stud, man, and he is absolutely proving that he was worth that lottery pick. And yeah, man, if we're going back, and honestly, him and Zion are going to be tagged up and compared throughout their careers. So Zion Williams, you got some catching up to do, in my opinion. Ja Morant is really proven that he should have been that number one pick.